Have you ever watched two people on screen and thought, this is no longer just acting? Something real is happening here? Tonight, we're diving into the story that so many fans whisper about. Backhand index pointing right, is Wang Yibo quietly refusing to share Xiao Zhan with anyone else? Backhand index pointing right, and why do so many people believe that whatever he feels is genuinely real? From subtle glances in crowded rooms, to the way he silently stands by Xiao Zhan during the hardest moments of his career. This is not a story of loud declarations, but of quiet, protective affection. Stay with me until the end, because we'll look at three powerful emotional moments that made fans say, if this is not love, then what is it? Welcome to Star Watch Now. When Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan first appeared together, everything was simple on paper. Two professionals sharing the same project, reading the same script, standing under the same lights. Yet, almost immediately, viewers sensed that there was something quietly unusual about them. Their interactions did not feel like rehearsed variety show banter or polite colleague chemistry. Instead, there was an ease between them that seemed to exist even when the cameras were not demanding it. They laughed in a way that felt unforced, as if the jokes had started long before the recording began and would continue long after it ended. The way they looked at each other carried that subtle recognition you see between people who speak the same unspoken language. It is this natural alignment that makes fans say, this goes beyond co-stars. Over time, every shared glance, every small touch on stage, every moment of eye contact became a piece of a larger puzzle. Not a loud, dramatic love story, but a connection that refuses to fit into a neat, professional label. It simply feels deeper than that. Wang Yibo has never stood on stage and claimed any kind of ownership over Xiao Zhan, but many fans believe his actions sometimes whisper what his lips will not say. At crowded events, when people surround Xiao Zhan, Yibo's eyes often drift towards him, keeping quiet track of where he is and how he seems. It is a subtle, instinctive act, like someone checking repeatedly that something precious has not slipped out of sight. In certain clips, when Xiao Zhan leans closer to another person, laughs freely, or appears deeply engaged in conversation, Yibo's expression shifts almost imperceptibly. There is no open hostility, no childish sulk, only a fleeting shadow in his gaze. Fans read this as a tiny flare of jealousy, softened by restraint and respect. They see a man who is used to having a particular place in someone's life, quietly adjusting to the idea that others might step closer to that space. These are not grand gestures. There is no possessive drama. But precisely because it is so low-key and controlled, it feels honest. It feels like the quiet reluctance of someone who does not truly wish to share what his heart has learned to value. To understand why Wang Yibo might find it difficult to share Xiao Zhan, you have to look at who Xiao Zhan is within the chaos of their industry. The entertainment world can be relentless. Flashing cameras, constant judgment, online storms that rise and fall overnight. For someone naturally reserved like Yibo, that spotlight can be as exhausting as it is rewarding. In the middle of all that noise, Xiao Zhan appears to function as a kind of quiet harbor. He carries a steady warmth that puts people around him at ease. He listens with genuine attention, laughs with his whole face, and never seems in a rush to get away from the moment he is in. When Yibo is beside him, there is often a visible shift. The tension in his shoulders softens, the guarded look in his eyes eases, and his smiles appear more unrestrained. Fans describe Xiao Zhan as Yibo's resting place, because that is exactly how it feels. When they are together, it is as if the volume of the outside world is turned down. In that calmer space, Yibo does not have to perform, he can simply be. And once someone becomes your quiet place in a noisy life, letting go or standing aside becomes far more complicated. True connection is rarely tested when life is easy. This depth is revealed when things begin to break. During one of the most difficult chapters of Xiao Zhan's career, when public opinion turned harsh and everything he did seemed to be scrutinized, it would have been simple, almost expected, for people to quietly step back. Distance is a common form of self-protection in such moments. Yet many fans noticed that Wang Yibo did not make a show of leaving, nor did he turn the situation into a performance of loyalty. There were no dramatic speeches, no social media campaigns where he declared himself a hero. Instead, There was something much quieter. He simply did not disappear. In a world where silence is often misread as indifference, his particular kind of silence felt different. Felt steady. It felt like someone choosing not to abandon a person just because that person had become difficult to stand next to publicly. For many fans, this was the turning point. This was when their relationship stopped looking like a convenient pairing and began to resemble something grounded in trust. Affection shouted can be impressive. Affection endured in storms feels profoundly real. The question that circles endlessly around Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan is simple to ask but almost impossible to answer. Is this love? Or is it something else entirely? On the surface, it is easy to say friendship or brotherhood, the usual labels used to keep things tidy and acceptable. Yet, when fans watch their interactions, especially the quiet ones, it often feels like those words are not quite enough. Perhaps it is romantic. Perhaps it is not. Perhaps it sits in that rare space where two people become emotionally central to each other's lives without needing the traditional markers of a relationship. What makes their bond so compelling is that it does not seek permission to exist, and it does not rush to explain itself. It simply continues. For many people, that is more moving than any public confession. The intensity in their eyes when they look at one another, the way they unconsciously align their bodies, the sense of ease and safety they seem to share. These things suggest a connection that runs deeper than categories. In a world obsessed with naming everything, there is something beautiful about a feeling that remains defiantly undefined, yet unmistakably sincere. The story of Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan is not only shaped by the two men at its center, but also by the people who watch from the outside. Fans could easily turn their connection into something harsh, invasive, or possessive. Instead, many choose a softer path. They clip small moments, create delicate edits, write thoughtful captions, and share their interpretations in a way that often feels protective rather than demanding. Instead of insisting on a label, a large part of the fandom focuses on what the relationship represents. Trust, healing, emotional safety in an industry that can be unforgiving. Their discussions may be full of speculation, but beneath that is a strong current of respect. They know these are two real human beings, not just characters from a drama. By keeping the tone gentle, they allow the story to breathe without forcing it into a fixed shape. In doing so, fans become quiet guardians of something fragile and precious. They do not control the bond between Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan, but they create a space where that bond can be appreciated, honored, and perhaps even allowed to grow without being crushed under expectation. Bell call to action for Star Watch Now, 9 to 9:30. If you enjoyed traveling through the story with me, please support our channel Star Watch Now. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss our next deep dive into scient relationships and hidden moments behind the spotlight. Give this video a like if it warmed your heart, even just a little, and turn on the notification bell so you're always the first to know when a new story drops. Thank you so much for watching, for feeling these stories with us, and for being part of the Star Watch Now family. See you in the next video. Dizzy.